feedback. All right. Do you have questions specifically for us, or do you want us to just kind of give you some feedback? Good, bad, ugly. All right. I think that it was super solid. I think that this is a super awesome skill that you can have as a professional and as a professional in the making, obviously. Like, that's why you're learning this stuff. But I think something that probably that I saw on the paper that I think that you probably could like add to is there is a section where it like just says introduction, career goals, accomplishments, and traits. Maybe like give them like examples like in parentheses so they're not just like drawn a blank or anything, because it's kind of like when you go to introduce yourself, like, and you're like, I actually don't know anything about me, and I can't think of anything that anyone else does. So like, I don't know, I feel like that would be like, and I know that you gave an example up here, but just like in parentheses, like introduction, like name, this, that, like career goals, like jobs you've had, jobs you want to have.
True.
Accomplishments, like I graduated high school. That is an accomplishment, but.
Yes.
And then like traits, because I was like thinking, I was like, well, like that I'm like kind and stuff. I don't really like. I mean, I guess you could put those, but I don't know. But I thought you did a really good job of explaining and giving. I liked the. Sorry, I'm like talking everyone's ear off, but last one I didn't talk at all. I know.
I was just like.
So maybe like instead of saying like a celebrity, say, is there someone that or a company that you know that you would like to work for? You come into an elevator, and coincidentally, the owner of the company is right there. How are you gonna like sell yourself?
Yeah.
Like probably definitely like the businesses like in their community, because as high schoolers, that's where they're going to be going first.
Yeah, true. Okay, question about the worksheet. Do you think it would be better to have like the examples next to it versus the big example, or both?
I think you're going to want both. And I say that because then as they're going through reading it, they can think, oh, that's what that means. Oh, that would count. Because then they're not leaning over to their friend and being like, what characteristics do I have?
Yeah,
you know, because that we all know that's going to happen.
You have red hair.
Dang, you're observant. So I think that for that reason, they need to be listed out individually, but then they also could benefit from seeing them applied in a whole, like, how do I even phrase these together? You know what I mean? Because as separately, it's like, hi, I'm Emma, I have red hair, I like baking. You know, it's like, what? Why would you yell that at someone in the elevator? Like, that's awful. Scare them right out of the third floor. So, like, I think they need to see it applied too. So both.
Sure.
And I know that like you wanted to like, you had kind of explained to us in the beginning, but I think another idea that you could do, like, besides just, like, the one that you gave is, like, prior to that, like, you could be like, okay, like, what is everyone's, like, favorite, like, dessert? And have, or, like, favorite place to go, and, like, have them do it like that so that they can, like, have it as, like, a different application, and then just, like, flipping it to, like, themselves.
True.
I don't know, that's just an idea.
Because then it's like, you like to go there. This is like, if you find, or you meet the manager just by chance, and it's like,
And with all of that, like, it has an end goal. Like, when you're making something, once you make it, that's your end goal. Like, when you're going, like, to a theme park or whatever, like, here are all the things that you can do at the end. Like, if you do them, then you've accomplished your goal. Whereas, like, with this one, like, you introduce yourself and tell them, like, all of the things that, like, make you accomplished. And then if they hire you, then you've made your goal.
yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
That's just an idea.
And I really liked that, it was actually before we started recording, that you had told us that this is going to go in between the talking and listening, because I do think that is a good skill for them to have, because like being able to talk to somebody is fine and great, but if you don't know like where to start or what to say, then it's not all that great.
Okay, so the thing that I was gonna have you guys do, like after you finished your thing, you like what I'm gonna have the students do is like they have to do their 30 seconds to 3 students and 2 adults. So then they have to like speak properly, but they also have to listen. So that's how I was gonna like segue into the listening thing. And I was just like, So-
I think with that, with having them have to do it to 2 adults, it might prove a little tricky because like it's in the class situation. So even if you were to put like, okay, you have to do this with 2 adults like before our next class, you know, because
Yeah.
you might be on a day, B day schedule or whatever. That gives them a little bit more
Yeah.
opportunity to.
Well, I didn't mean like by the end of the class period. Like it'd be like a homework assignment. Like they could do it to their parents, or like I could be one of their resources. And then there's like a feedback box,
Yeah.
so that they could get potential feedback for it.
Solid.
One other fun fact, really fast. Okay, this is more for you, not we didn't feedback. It's more of a comment. So, this like when you read this, you think, when would I ever say that to someone? Like ever? Like this phrase? When would I ever be like, hi, my name is Jane Doe. I love to bake. I'm interested in the position of baking Krispy Kreme donuts. Like, unless you were talking to like obviously the person this is targeted for, that
Yeah.
is a really weird introduction.
Yeah.
And I feel like some of these students might take it as like a, when would I ever do that? You know what I mean? If they don't immediately apply themselves. So I like that you're putting them in application situations. But I was studying the Middle East once upon a time, and this is how they introduce themselves. And this isn't just like to potential employers. This is how they introduce themselves, a little bit smoother than this, but to everyone. Because when you meet someone, relationships are really, really important in the Middle East. And so every person that you meet, they're trying to like find a new connection in another way, like to have a connection to a doctor, a connection to a baker, a connection to a lawyer. Because if you immediately meet someone and you have a lot of connections, like, oh, my sister-in-law is a this, or my brother-in-law's a this, my sister's a this, my mom's a this, they will actually tell you their family tree and what their family tree does to let you know like where their status is and how they can be like a help to you, and then you are supposed to do the same back, which is, yes, it is really cool. So this is actually how people will introduce themselves in a large portion of the world because they're trying to make more connections, and that's hopefully what we're hoping to do too, and building like a career web. So yeah, same. It's not that weird.
And I thought you did a solid job of teaching us a skill that is needed everywhere. So, sweet.